The GTX 750 Ti may be a couple years old, but at its current price and current performance here in 2018, this is actually a very solid option for you budget gamers. Let's have a look. Hey, welcome to Zach's Tech Turf. Today we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the GTX 750 Ti and see if it's worth your money here in 2018. If you're into more GPU reviews or PC building videos, then hit that subscribe button down below and also that notification bell, that way you never miss an episode. But yeah, let's take a look at this little mini beast of a graphics card. This specific GPU that we're testing today is the Asus GTX 750 Ti, which is rocking 2GB of GDDR5 VRAM, a base clock of 1072 MHz, a boost clock of 1150 MHz, and 640 CUDA cores. There is certainly room for overclocking with this card, but for this video, I'm gonna keep it at stock speeds. I have a feeling that most people that are actually interested in this graphics card are brand new PC builders that are just building their very first gaming PC and don't really want to jump into the world of overclocking, but if I'm wrong, then drop a comment down below and I'll update this video. For today's testing, we're gonna use my usual test bench, which is rocking an i7 4790K that boosts up to 4.4 GHz, 16GB of RAM, an MSI Gaming 5 motherboard, and the games are installed on a Samsung 840 EVO SSD. The settings that you're about to see for each game are the settings that I would personally game at if I was actually using a 750 Ti, and don't worry, I'm definitely going to include the less graphically demanding esport titles, but I'm also going to include some tougher to run games at the end. And also the footage that you're about to see matches the settings, so you'll know what the games will look like. The first game up was Fortnite Battle Royale, and here I averaged an impressive 70 FPS in 1080p in medium settings with the 3D render scale at 100%. I also uploaded a Fortnite benchmarking video with a bunch of budget graphics cards, so check that video out too if you haven't already. Next up was CSGO, and like most of my benchmarking videos, I kept the settings at 1080p high with no anti-aliasing, and with that it averaged 185 FPS. Dota 2 was up next, and here, as you would probably expect, we averaged a nice 91 frames per second average on 1080p in the highest settings. The 750 Ti can easily play any of these non-graphically demanding MOBAs. Another not so graphically demanding game is Rocket League, and here we also averaged in the 90s FPS mark in 1080p in high render quality and high render detail. I did benchmark this during an online game too, and not just a solo training event or anything. Overwatch was up next, and I was actually pretty surprised by this one. In 1080p with ultra settings and the resolution scale locked to 100%, I still got an average of 67. Just like any of these settings today, you can always tweak these graphics down lower to achieve higher frame rates if you're rocking one of those higher refresh rate monitors. Getting into some tougher games to run, I decided to throw the new Doom game at it. The 750 Ti did struggle a little bit, especially since the game is more GPU dependent, but I still averaged 51 frames per second in 1080p and low settings with no anti-aliasing. Next up was the brand new Warhammer Vermintide 2. I also did an entire benchmarking video on this, and in 1080p with low settings, I averaged 62 frames per second. A new game to the benchmarking mix is Project Cars 2, which just released at the end of last year, and here in 1080p with low settings, I averaged 57 FPS. This game actually remained very smooth throughout. As you can see, the 1% and 0.1% lows were very tight. Next up was the very hard to run Assassin's Creed Origins, and the 750 Ti definitely showed its weak point here. In 1080p and low settings, I was only able to average 35 FPS. If you really want to play this game with a 750 Ti, then I would probably recommend dropping the resolution down to 720p. And finally, the last game I benchmarked was Destiny 2, one that I also haven't really included in my benchmarking videos, but that's more because it's super annoying to test because of Bungie banning all the overlays. I couldn't run my normal FPS monitor tools, but I was able to eyeball an average FPS of 60 to 75, obviously depending on the environment, amount of enemies, etc., and this was in 1080p and low settings, definitely playable. With all the benchmarks out of the way, who is this graphics card actually for? It runs 1080p and low to medium settings pretty well, but so do the new Ryzen APUs. If you're building a brand new gaming PC today, then I would personally prefer going with the Ryzen 2200G or even the 2400G and just using the built-in graphics for them, and then later on you can upgrade to a beefy GPU. On the flip side, I would definitely recommend the GTX 750 Ti to someone that is just trying to transform an older machine into a 1080p capable gaming PC. That's actually what this card is designed for, or if you're just looking to grab a cheap GPU that's not super overpriced due to cryptocurrency mining. Well, that wraps up my review of the GTX 750 Ti in 2018. It's It's certainly a really good budget graphics card, but like I said, I would definitely keep my eye on the 2200G or 2400G if you're building a brand new gaming PC, and if you are, then check out this video to save you some money while doing that. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please drop a like down below to help support my channel. Also, while you're down there, there's a link to ZachsTechTurf.com so you can buy baller t-shirts like this and really support the channel. And as always, thank you for watching, and please subscribe for more Zach's Tech Turf videos.